Early in the days of my leadership development firm, I got an email from someone who had taken my leadership assessment tool or test and gotten my response and so forth. And they responded with, "I thought there would be a more scientific process to this assessment." Now, honestly, they had a little bit of a point. Combine that with, I then later found out that they were another leadership, I'm going to call them a guru, with, I'll say, a different emphasis than mine, and a heart that, at least in my experience, has tended to want to be right and prove people wrong more than to genuinely serve people. So I have to take some of it with a grain of salt, but there was something I could learn from it. And I think that when we as leaders are talking about leadership, especially those of us that are consultants and coaches and such, we tend to hit it from one of two angles, right? We hit it from either the philosophical angle, right? The metaphysical, the love and the service and the different thoughts and attitudes of leadership. Or we hit it from the practical side. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna make this real? I like to call it, what are we gonna do on Monday morning? Monday morning matters. How are we gonna put this into practice? And so if you're in one of those two categories, there's not a problem. If you are watching this channel, you know I hit on both those. I hit on both the psychological, the philosophical, as well as the practical and the application. But there is something that kind of bridges the two that we don't talk about much. Most leadership firms don't talk about it, and that is data. That is data. And I was talking to someone the other day about this, and I told them that when I start working with an organization's leaders, I always do a leadership assessment. And they said, "Oh, okay," and they were asking which one, and they named some of the popular assessment tools. And I said, I get where you're coming from, but no, honestly, those are really personality assessments, okay? So the Myers-Briggs, the colors one, there's like animal ones and color ones and whatever. DISC is very popular in the business world. And there's nothing wrong with those necessarily, but I have not found them to be very helpful in what I'm working toward, because those tend to be based in personality and in convoluted generalities that don't necessarily actually address core issues, right? So that's my opinion, and I can talk more about that in a future video. That's probably a longer video. But what I try to do is what I call a 360-degree assessment, where we are assessing an individual based on all sides of feedback. So if this is a supervisor, I want to talk to the supervisor to understand how they feel about what they're doing. I want to talk to their superior, their leader, their director, manager, whatever, to find out their opinion. I want to talk to the colleagues of this person that I'm evaluating to find out what they think about their team spirit and the way that they approach and approve, or at least perceive the way that this person interacts with their staff and each other. And then of course, I want to talk to the subordinates. What do you think about your boss? And this provides me a comprehensive 360-degree assessment of how this leader is leading, and then allows me the opportunity to provide a customized and personalized leadership coaching strategy for that individual. Now, the purpose of this video is not so that I can explain how I do my business. The purpose of this video is to say that data is important when we are developing leaders. So normally I'm speaking directly to the front line of the middle management leader, and that's fine. But for now, I kind of want to say, if you are one who's trying to develop leaders, and I personally don't believe you are a leader until you have the capacity to raise up other leaders. In fact, I think there needs to be multiple levels. I don't think you're a leader until you have the capacity to raise up other leaders who also have the capacity to raise up leaders. So there kind of has to be a multi-generational leadership capacity there. But if you're doing that, don't forget to use data. Get to know your leaders. Not everyone is the same. No singular curricula is going to work to develop every single person the same way. Your journey is different than my journey. At least I hope so. And so it's important that if someone were to try to help us both become a better leader, that they would do that strategically and individually. Our role as leaders, whether we're just leading a team or whether we're leading a team of other leaders, is to get to know the individuals, whether you have a formal data collection process or it's a more generalized approach, but to use that data to customize our ability to reach out to those individuals and hopefully make the biggest impact. All right, that was a lot today. Let me just summarize by saying this. You want to be a great leader who helps raise up other great leaders? Don't forget they're unique. Get to know them. Take down information so that you're able to effectively nurture that growth and build that person up in their own unique strengths. Thanks for joining us today on the Servant Minded Leadership channel, where we are empowering leaders to change the world.